Strong Enough merch is now available. Go to strongenoughpod.com and see all the things that you can get to show your strong enough pride, as well as remind people and yourself that you are strong enough and you are worth it. Welcome to the Strong Enough podcast, where we talk about the challenges and celebrate the triumphs of people just like you. I'm your host, Claudia. Today's guest is going to talk about how she was able to ditch her self-sacrificing, people-pleasing, and need for external validation. She's going to share what life has been like now that she's able to live as her true self. Please help me welcome Anya Keefe. Anya, I am so grateful and blessed to have you here with me today. How are you doing?
I'm doing so good, Claudia. Thank you so much for giving me a platform to tell my story and to speak. I appreciate you doing that so much for not just me, but for so many other people. But I'm awesome. How about you?
I am also awesome, mainly because we get to hang out for a little while together. And, most of the people that I have on the podcast are people that I have never met in person. And, I've had a few that I know face to face, but you are one of the first few guests that I have actually met and then had on the podcast. So, you're kind of a pioneer in this space. How does that feel?
Yay, I feel special.
As you should. You are special. And, meeting you was a super bright spot on a really early morning a few weeks ago. I am not a morning person for those that know me. And seeing your smiling face was truly a blessing. And we had an amazing conversation over a really tasty breakfast. So that was nice as well. But I don't wanna keep raving about you and leave the audience out. So I would love it if you would just share a little about yourself.
Absolutely. And I just wanted to say that mirror, mirror, because I found you also very uplifting on that early morning. So cheers to you. So, I came to the United States in 1991 as a child with my family. We immigrated from Russia, and we were placed in Vermont, where we were the first influx of immigrants in that state, in that city. So everybody was in a shock there at that time. And at that time, there was more cows than people over there. So it was a very interesting just culture shock for me altogether. I remember walking into the store, into the grocery store as a little girl, and like seeing all the exotic fruits, seeing bananas and pineapples and watermelon and kiwis, fruits I've never seen before, and so much candy and so much food. That was not how it was in Russia where I was from. So I just remember being in so much awe of all the abundance that I saw all around me.
One of the things that I noticed about you pretty quickly after meeting you, was that you're not the typical Russian. And I think I told you that. What I mean by that is most of the people that I've met from that region are very stern. They're very serious. You never know whether they really like you or not. You never know whether they're happy or not. And you just immediately showed joy. I would love it if you would share what gave you that ability. How are you after the culture that you came from?
Yeah, I thank you so much for that question because it really gives me a chance to kind of dig deeper into how I always was. Because I really always was this way when I was little. And I always felt a little bit on the outside because I was always happy and joyous and loving, and everybody around me was just rushing or going somewhere or trying to do something, or there was always like so much turmoil going on, that I went through I went through periods of melancholy because of that, because the way that I was didn't really fit in to the culture and to what I saw around me. I did see a lot of, you know, family coming together, a lot of that helping each other, but that's still, there was still a lot of heaviness from, our grandparents who had gone through the wars and gone through hunger. So that kind of carried over, right? So there was still that layer of just that heavy energy. Um, and it took a while for me to actually, because I didn't really feel like things were supposed to be how they were. I always felt like things were supposed to be with more heart, with more love, that life is supposed to be more joyous, and not people just trying to run away from their pain. Um, and moving to America actually allowed me to see the abundance, see what can be created here, because it is so much more opportunities here than there was there. Um, at the same time, I still maintained my my heart, which is with the Russian traditions and my culture, but now my mind and my spirit was already more in the American way of being.
It might even be American plus, because I feel like, as a society, we have lost a lot of the joy and fun. There's so much heaviness in the world right now. So what is it like for you to have that joyous spirit inside and be able to share it with others?
Yes. So I am still having my human experience, of course. And when I do, I'm not completely under a rock and I'm not completely unrealistic, and I do know what's going on in the world, and I do feel like there's just so much happening right now that I feel like shouldn't be happening at this day and age. Like we should have learned from the patterns and the cycles of our ancestors and history and not let it repeat itself, right? Like that's why we know history, and here we are seeing a lot of the things happening. And so I do feel, and anytime I hear that something happens, I give myself a moment to grieve for it. And I cry and I feel the pain that the mothers are feeling, that the fathers are feeling, that the children are feeling. And then, you know, I remember and I remind myself that all I can do is be in my heart. All I can do is what I can do in this moment where I find myself. Give my family more hugs, more love, more kisses. Reach out to my friends, reach out to people that matter, support someone, motivate someone, inspire someone, tell someone how beautiful they look today, compliment someone every day, because what I can do is just spread my love. And because I know that, that person is might be going through something that, well, everybody's going through something that we don't know about. So when you do an act of kindness, then that's going to ripple off in their lives. And honestly, the wars we see outside of us is the wars we're battling within ourselves. And we really have to take a look within ourselves and how are we contributing to the distortion that is happening in our world. And um, as Michael Jackson said, I'm looking at the man in the mirror, right? I'm asking him how to change the ways. I think that's the line. I'm not sure, but you know what I mean.
It sounds good to me. Sounds good to me.
Yeah, that if we want to make a change, it starts with us.
You mentioned earlier kind of feeling that heaviness from your grandparents and kind of the previous generations from what they had been through. And we hear a lot about generational trauma, generational curses, cycles, all those things that all kind of boil down to bad things that we end up passing on to the next generation. What is it like for you to know that you are creating a different cycle, a new cycle for your next generation?
Oh, thank you for that question. Let me tell you, it hasn't come easy. It hasn't come easy. And I had my son when I was 22, and I had my daughter when I was 34. And my son still, you know, grew up in a lot of shadow aspects of me, a lot of me that wasn't aware at that time, a lot of me um, that was striving to be um, this joyous, calm, peaceful mom, and still wasn't completely there. So I call my son my savior because when I was gifted with such a blessing, it it took me away from my own self-destruction and my own um what I didn't know what my path was. I didn't know what the journey held. So it took me away from that to now I have a beautiful being that I'm responsible for. And I really want to be the best and do the best for him. And that's where my journey started. So he actually grew up with me, so to speak. I'm still the mom and I'm still, but I'm still a human and I'm still growing and learning. Now, my daughter, on the other hand, I had her when I was 34. So I had already gone through a lot of personal development courses. I had already did a deep work on myself, which was, part of the catalyst was my son, but I was doing it before that too. I just didn't really have a complete path until I had my son. And so she is my mirror. So she is still showing me, she's still calling me out and still showing me what it is that I need to work on, because we are constantly evolving and we are constantly a work in progress and it never ends. Once we think that we've reached a certain level of knowing or understanding or anything like that, like then there's this other level, then there's another challenge that comes to us. It's like, oh, wait a minute, I have to look deeper. I have to see what's going on there. And it's been a beautiful unfolding because one of my mentors, my I love her so much. Her name is Brandy, and she's a mentor for me in human design and gene keys. It's just a method to help you know yourself deeper. And she told me, how can you ever truly love yourself if you don't love where you came from? And here I was running away from where I came from because it was chaotic and painful and whatever. But that is exactly what I needed for me to be able to make the changes within myself, to be able to then provide that knowledge and that wisdom to my children, and for them for me to be able to show that I'm still human and I still have my emotions. Mom still gets angry, mom gets sad, mom can cry, and for them to see that. And if I make a mistake with them, or if I, yell, then we talk about it. And I say, hey, I'm really sorry that that happened. I got frustrated, or I had a really tough day, or whatever it is, and we talk about it. And we talk about it. It's like, yeah, this happened. Let's see what we can do better next time. Let's see how we can communicate better next time with each other, because you really mean the world to me and I want us to have the best relationship. And really, that's what it's about, because none of us really know what the heck is going on. We don't know. We don't know. We're doing our best with where we're at all times.
I do want to say, earlier you said that you're still the mom and he's the son. I've seen you two together,
Yes,
and let me just say, for those of you who aren't watching right now, for those of you who are listening, everybody knows I have a knack on this show for bringing on people who are vampires, people who do not look their age, people who have somehow found the fountain of youth and are hoarding it for themselves. You are one of these people, because you seriously could be your son's big sister. 100%. So just know that you're doing a fantastic job. People are going to be asking for your secrets. I'll tell you that.
thank you.
Yes. What I thought was interesting that you just talked about, and it's kind of full circle from what you previously said about how it's sad that we kind of as a country, or as nations, haven't learned from the past and history is repeating itself. And then you saying that you were running away from where you came from instead of embracing that and learning from it really is the same thing, just on a smaller scale. So I think it's really profound that you said that, and that you kind of picked up on that and learned that we don't have to run from where we're from if it's not the best place, or there were challenges, or there was trauma. We can still appreciate where we came from and use that to grow and to change if that's what we need to do. I want to talk to you a little bit about change. One of the things I think a lot of women struggle with in their life is people pleasing, self sacrifice. We're the martyr. We want to do all for everybody else and make everybody else happy. Is that something that you struggled with? And if so, what did you do to kind of break out of that cycle?
Wow. I love your questions. They're just so on point, because I was just I just sent out this short video to some of my girlfriends that I saw of, I forget his last name, but it's Gabor Mate or Yates, something like that. But he was talking about how research has proven that about 80% of all autoimmune disease, people who carry autoimmune diseases and everything else and have like the gut issues and all of that, are women. And the reason why that is because we are the ones who care about others, and we're putting our heart and soul, and we're the nurturers, and we're, you know we do, and sometimes it's at the detriment of our own health and our own well-being. And we forget about ourselves. And I definitely had the I had that pattern and that blueprint from what I saw of my grandma, what I saw of my mom. And it definitely passed on to me. And I, at one point, and that was right when everything hit the fan back in 2020, actually, right before that. So it was interesting. In January of 2020, I remember going to a friend of mine, and she has this machine that kind of scans you. Um shoot, I forgot. Bioresonance. It's a bioresonance machine where it picks up on how your like kind of how your cells talk to your brain. So the energetic, like it like just reads the energy around you basically, and within you, what's happening with your body. And she was like, hey, you got to do something, because what I see is not pretty. So at that moment, I had a choice to make. I had to shift out of my pattern fast if I wanted to be healthy, if I wanted to be well, if I wanted to live and to continue on creating the life that I desire to create for myself. And so I told my husband, I said, hey, I'm in a place right now and I need to go, and um, I need to do what I need to do for myself. And at that time, our daughter was 3 years old, and it was in February. And I went for 2 weeks, and I went to Peru, and I worked with a shaman. And from then on, everything shifted 360. And, I'm not saying everybody go and run off to Peru, run off to the jungles and, for 2 weeks. I'm not saying that that was the appropriate path for me at that time. I needed to step away from my life, how I see it, and I needed to be exposed to um, something different so that I was able to then bring that back with me and start new patterns. I needed something that was shocking and I needed something that was like, okay. And from then on, the patterns shifted. And then I found Dr. Joe Dispenza, and we had gone to his retreat and went, meditation, breath work. And so the journey took one step by step by step by step, and it unfolds differently for different people. And that was just the way that mine unfolded for me to be able to shift out of that. And now I'm happy to say that I am healthier. My life completely shifted. My relationship with my husband is deeper. My relationship with my children is growing and is deeper as well. And it actually attributed by me following that call, by me following my intuition, by me following my heart. Um, for the past 2 years, we've been open and calling in a child, and now I'm almost 3 months. So, yeah. So I was able to, cleanse my body and let go of a lot of that, because I knew that that wasn't going to happen until I was good mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. I had to be good. So whatever way, I would suggest whatever way for anyone that they can help themselves get out of their self-limiting patterns, self-destructive patterns, self-sacrificing patterns, and take care of themselves better, please do that, because you are needed in this world. Women are the ones that are going to shift this world. This world does not need more successful men. This world does not need more successful people or more powerful people. This world needs more loving, kind, and nurturing people.
I love that. And I love that you talked about following your intuition, because another thing that a lot of women often struggle with, and men as well, but I think we see it more with women, is they don't have the confidence to follow their intuition. They don't trust themselves. So, what was it like for you to really trust yourself and say, this is what I need to do? This is the path I need to take. What did that teach you about yourself to be able to do that?
Yes. So I felt like a badass. Let me tell you, following your intuition and knowing and trusting yourself and trusting your intuitive self, because we're not taught that. We're not taught that. We're just taught action, logic, go, do. We're taught very masculine qualities, and that's seen as success. That's seen as the blueprint, the pathway. We're not taught to really sit in stillness and really honor what is coming through to you, through your heart, through your gut, through just your feeling. We're not taught to honor that and value that. So, and that's who I am. That's fully who I am. I'm fully just in I'm a completely feminine female. And my intuition has always been so on point, and I never looked at it as valuable. I always pushed it to the side. I always tried to follow the blueprint of the doing, and um, trying to run around and please everyone and just do to validate myself and to seek for that validation. And honestly, listening to your intuition is revolutionary. That's the revolution. And I felt like, you know what? This isn't logical. This doesn't make sense, but this is what I need. And after I did it once, and it gave me back so much value, and then I did it the next time, and I got so much value, and the next time, and then it built so much more confidence in myself to keep going and keep doing it, because not only then was I able to shift that around myself, that energy, and value that within myself, but everything around me started to shift. And I saw that everything around me started to shift, just in the way that my daughter was acting, in the way that my husband was acting. And because now mom is standing fully in who she is, and she's not looking for validation, because she's already validating herself in who she is. So intuition is just, yeah. It's like it's the divine that's talking through us, is like giving those nudges, like, okay. And there's absolutely room for logic too. I'm not saying that there's no room for logic, um but married with the intuition is a beautiful unfolding.
We see so many young women, especially right now, seeking validation in places like social media. Not only young women, all of us, people of all ages are looking for that external validation and trying to get it from all these different places that aren't inside themselves. You talked about how life-changing it was, not only for you to be able to feel the validation for yourself, but for your daughter to see you doing that. What are you teaching her about where validation comes from and how we don't have to go outside of ourselves to find it?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm teaching her. You just said it. Perfect. Exactly. That she does not have to go outside of herself. That, you know, and that question like is so deep to my heart because I had been thinking about like, okay, I want my daughter to see me and look up to me to the type of woman that she is going to not only aspire to but also want to be like. I don't want my daughter looking at me and being like, "Oh, she's a mess." Like I'm going to have to figure this one out. But like I really want to inspire her to grow up, to speak her voice, to be herself, and to know that of course, there's always room for improvement and there's room for us to grow. But that's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to have the feelings of fear when we have to go up and perform a song or whatever it is. But that she's just gotta do it anyway because for herself, for her to know that she can do it and to push herself a little bit more. And yeah, that's an interesting one, because it's not that long ago that I was actually fully embracing and embodying all of who I am and really valuing myself in that space. So but, you know, it's best to start now, right? Then
It's never too late. You know what? We learned a lot of things in our time together a few weeks ago, and I think that was one of the things that we really saw with a lot of people was that it's never too late to be the person that you're meant to be.
yeah. Yeah.
What's next for you? So, we got another little one on the way.
Yes, we do.
What
Uh,
else is cooking in your world?
so my husband and I are building out a brand with long-term care. I think I've mentioned that, and that's why we were there at that event with my son because he's actually going to be shooting, or we already started shooting the documentary. So he's shooting the documentary and also shooting our content for us too. So I love to be able to come together with my family and do that project because just seeing what an unprepared for a long-term care event can do to a family through my stepdad getting an early onset like diagnosis of dementia, a pretty aggressive kind, and now he's been really really going down this past year, and just seeing my mom struggle and how she's trying to do it all on her own and trying to support her, and also given her a platform to speak her story and hopefully let that help other people that to prepare better for an event like that, because they say that 1 out of 3 Americans will go through a long-term care event at some point, in their older lives, and but not that many are prepared for it. So I'm excited about that project and continuing in my unfolding of my voice and speaking out and motivating and inspiring others, and women to tap into their inner goddess. So yeah, just seeing where that journey takes me.
Well, I know I'm excited also to see where the journey takes you as one of your new and bestest friends. So
Yay!
I can't wait. I want to take a quick turn before I let you go. We are going to chat about tattoos real quick because I'm in a hoodie, so you can't see them. I think you got to see them though. I have a lot of tattoos. I think we even talked about some of my tattoos, and you were asking me about the stories behind them. I know that you have a tattoo as well, and I think we have a very similar or the same tattoo. So I would love it if you would share what you have and why you got it.
Um, well, I have a symbol for strong in the back of my neck. It's a Chinese symbol for strong. And at the time that I got it, we were at River Run, which was this motorcycle festival in Laughlin.
This is a great story.
Yeah, it is. And I was with my two girlfriends. We were actually roommates and we were living together and we were also modeling together. So we were there actually for a paid modeling gig, which included a bikini contest. So after that, we were all, just happy and just like joyful. And I knew somebody that ran the Golden Nugget. And it was like the manager of the Golden Nugget or something like that. And he was like, "Hey, if you girls want a free tattoo, I can hook you up." And we're like, "Okay, let's do that." And it was my idea. My two girlfriends went along with me. Um, and it was at the time where me and my son's father were, separating and divorcing. So I was looking through the book and I was like, well, how about we get all three of us because we're supporting each other, we're there for each other, we've got each other's backs, and we're stronger together. So let's just get this symbol on our necks for strong. And I was the last one to go, and I got the smallest one. One of my girlfriends got the same tattoo, like lower on her back and pretty big, and my other girlfriend got hers a little bit bigger. I was chicken. Even though it was my idea, I was chicken until the end, and I was like, "Ah, I'm just gonna do it." And so I'm glad that I ended up going through with it too.
And your friends probably would have been a little annoyed with you had you not gone through with it.
Yeah, I know. Probably.
Are there any other tattoos in your future?
I'm not sure. I think that if there is, it would have to be a really good story, something very special. I'm open to it. I'm not opposed to it. Maybe when my daughter grows up, we might want to get like a matching tattoo, but it would have to be something really, really special for me to get another one.
I will tell you, you are in the city where I go get tattooed. So
Yeah.
I'm going to throw it out there. Revolt Tattoos. Go. I'll tell you who to go see. I'll tell you
Okay.
where to go. I'll come with you. I I will be your golden nugget for your next tattoo.
Perfect. My
So,
I can hook up.
yes, yes. Anya, where can people find you? So, if they want to learn a little bit more about your story, if they want to watch your transformation, if they want to know how they can be better prepared for long term care, or if they want to join us on our tattoo excursion, where can they find you?
Well, the best place to see me is probably in my social, which is on Instagram, which is Anya ANYAKEEFE 888. And so that's where I'm at. You can send me a DM if you'd like to talk more or get any tidbits on anything that we've talked about here, go deeper more into it. I'd be more than happy to be there for you and support you in your journey.
I know that your inbox is probably now going to be flooded, so be ready for that. Anya, you have been truly amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time to share a little bit about your story and give inspiration and hope to others that they can live out their true joy as well. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Claudia. I so appreciate you more than you will ever know.
If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe and follow us on social media so you'll never miss what's going on. Remember, until next week, you are strong enough, you are worth it. Thank you for listening to the Strong Enough podcast. You can find us on your favorite podcast platform by searching Strong Enough. And on YouTube, we're on the Spear Talk channel. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Strong Enough Pod. If you have suggestions for an upcoming episode or a future guest, please reach out at strongenoughpod@gmail.com. Remember, you are worth it.